Hey everyone, my name is Becca Goolsby. I chose to do my second theory over agenda setting theory. Um, the agenda setting theory was established by Maxwell McCombs and Donald Shaw. Max McCombs studied at the University of Texas and Donald Shaw studied at the University of South Carolina. There are a few different types of agendas that they discussed at the very beginning of the chapter, which are personal agenda, meaning issues that are important to you right now at that very moment. Public agenda, which are issues that are most important across a solid group of people, like a city, state, or even a nation. And media agenda, which is the degree of importance that the news media gives an issue at any given moment. My personal opinion on that is basically just kind of what they want to broadcast or talk about or report basically at that very moment. The basic meaning of this theory is that over time, the media agenda shapes the public agenda. Basically, talking about how the media doesn't talk about the stuff that's going on, so we won't hear about it. Um, Unfortunately, that's, in my personal opinion, been going on a lot more as the older we get. At least that's what I've noticed the older I've gotten. McCombs and Shaw found that there were three different ways uh, for the agenda setting to occur, and in the book they call them levels. Um, Level one is the media tells us what to think about, meaning the media controls what we're thinking about by choosing which events they write or broadcast about, making us only think about whatever it is that they're reporting at that very moment. Level two is the media tells us which attributes of issues are most important by picking and choosing what they want to write about. Um, in the book, there is a very particular saying for this level, which says the media aren't very successful in telling us what to think, but are stunningly successful in telling us what to think about. So, by broadcasting what they want to broadcast and choosing that, they are then making us think about what they're broadcasting, whether we really want to or not. In level three, the media tells us which issues go together, connecting one issue to another potential issue. Basically, the example that was given in the book was um, immigrants breaking the law to come over to America, and because they're here, they're going to automatically break laws that we have for the country. Um, it's an interesting concept. Doesn't necessarily make it right, but it's a fair concept. Um, McCombs expanded his research for agenda setting through the media and recently wrote a book about the media priorities influencing people's behavior. I thought that was actually super interesting and I could relate a lot to it. I can see how that affects people's behavior because I personally think that it's affected my behavior as an individual. Um, I've watched and heard what they were saying and got really frustrated when the 2020 election was going on. I don't normally post political posts because I don't want to offend anyone out of, I want to respect them as much as I can. And unfortunately, in our society, no one can have different opinions without it ending friendships and causing huge fights. And I just didn't want to cause that for anyone. But I was posting some posts that were actually shedding light on some of the falsehoods that the media outlets were either portraying one specific way instead of telling the whole truth, which is completely out of character for me. So I could tell that my behavior had changed based on seeing that the media was being one-sided. Um, it does go to show and make you think, though, who sets the agenda for the agenda setters? In the book, they discuss a couple of them. One being other respected news organizations, emerging medias, partisan media, candidates and office holders, press releases, interest aggregations. Um, Basically, the definition of that in the book is clusters of people who demand center stage My short-term version is protesters, such as the Black Lives Matter, um, and gatekeepers, which are editors. Um, with these influencers being in control of what's being broadcasted and published, it causes agenda melding. Agenda melding, by definition, is the social process by which we meld agendas from various sources to create pictures of the world that fit our experiences and preferences. The best example that I could give of this example is the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, let me say this: COVID-19 is very real. I work in a hospital, I've seen it. Um, but I do personally believe and saw that the media denied for a year, I believe, that it wasn't man made. And then an entire year comes by and it was man made. Um, and what they did was they actually went based off what the politicians for our own government wanted them to tell us. And I personally thought that that was extremely wrong. I think that agenda setting is a very big issue because, in my personal opinion, in my eyes, um, the media, publishers, government, they're supposed to be honest and upfront and broadcast the news, share the news, not be one-sided. Um, I personally felt really compelled to talk about the agenda setting one because that is a huge problem in our society. Um, so I do thank you for your time for listening.